here. I am cool. Oh, this is incorrectly named. That's okay. This is going to be basically a somewhat comprehensive tutorial on how editing works for Everyday Gator. Credits, because that's something that needs to be done for every episode. Each episode has its own credits, obviously. So yeah, that's what this is going to be. I'm going to talk about what I've done in the past for Everyday Gator, what we do now, all that. This is not a how to edit Everyday Gator. I've done that before. The link for that will be in the description of this video. I don't think I go into credits in that one, and even when I'd done the first one of those, we weren't using these new credits. So you don't know what I'm talking about as far as our credits. Let me just pull one up real quick from like last year, if it'll let me. Yep. So this is just like from the Wing Zone Challenge last year. Oh gosh. Yeah, here's the credits. So, you know, an episode's gonna end, and they basically fade into credits. Oh, and the buffer is real. Okay. So yeah, you'll just see this fade, and then this is our credit sequence. It's nice, it's flashy, it's fancy. I like it a lot. I'm gonna get big so we can, for now, while we can watch it. There's these nice little animations that come in and out, and there's like Twitter handles and names, and there's like this nice next episode button and subscribe button, and you have our social media links in the background or in the bottom here. So there's a lot of nice things happening here, and there's music in the background. I'm not playing it now just so that you can actually hear what I'm saying. But yes, these are the credits we use. They're like 30 seconds, 40 seconds, something like that. Excuse me. They're not bad. Sometimes there's an after credit scene. I know there wasn't for this one. Then there's a little shout out to Me You Can Feel for being awesome. So yeah, that's our credit sequence. It's not crazy, but it's probably harder to edit than you think it is if you've never edited, or if you've never edited it before. Full disclosure, this is not a tutorial on how to use Adobe Premiere or After Effects, both of which I will be using. I'm going to assume you have at least a somewhat rudimentary knowledge of each. I'm not going to go like crazy advanced into, you know, weird After Effects things, but like I said, assume you have some working knowledge of the program. If not, there's a million, if you don't have that knowledge, there's a million ways to get it on the internet without me explaining it. People can probably explain it way better than I can. So, that being said, I'm going to show you in After Effects. Now, I'm going to reference some files and stuff. They are all in an editor resource pack, which I've updated. The link for that is in the description of this video as well. That's a zip file in our Google Drive, basically, that has access to all the Everyday Gator stuff. The logos, the credit sequences thing, which I'm about to show you, music, I don't know, anything, basically, you would need. So it's this EG credits sp16.aep. It's probably called .fall16 by the time you're watching this and using it for, you know, whatever semester you're using it for. But it's this After Effects file, and basically there's a ton of stuff in here. And yeah, let me just show you the main. This is basically a preset that we bought the licensing for, off of a different site for that's built specifically for this thing. There's a lot of like lower thirds in here. It's a lower thirds pack basically. There's a lot of things, you know. All these, there's these little pop-ups and just various stylings of things. You know, like these are really fancy. But the one we use, I saw it on there. It's the one that I've edited. Oh, there it was. There it is. This one, which is number 06. And we use the HD. We don't use 4K because we don't upload in 4K, so don't waste your time doing 4K. Just keep it HD. I can double-click in there, get into this. And it's actually 06 4K. They just downscale it, but when we export it, it'll be 4K. You know what I'm saying. We can pop in even farther, and now we're in the actual one where you can click in and hit. We're inside 06 4K. You can edit colors and duration, and now we're close to where we can actually edit things. Leave these in and outs, they're fine. The duration's fine, I've already said it. That's color control, that's fine. Text 1 is the name here, so I'm just going to remake mine basically right now so you can see what it would look like to redo one of these. You basically go in, I just type in all caps, I don't do lowercase, it's not camel case. It's all caps. That's a stylistic choice of the Everyday Gator as a whole. You probably noticed that the Everyday Gator logo itself is in all capital letters. So that's just stylistic. The font is Impact. IMPACT. It should be standard. I know it's standard on Windows. I'm sure it's standard on Mac too. I don't have confirmation of that, but I would pretty much guarantee you that it is. That being said, we can finish this. The other thing to notice is I try to keep these like don't let this happen and don't let this happen. Keep it relatively decently sized in there, and you'll see why in a minute. But yeah, keep it about even, pretty centered in there too. Now I can bounce back out to this, edit colors and duration, and you can see my name now fills the space pretty well. If I were to make this too big or too small, like if I were to, oh god, that's the guideline. If I were to do like this, for instance, not only would it be off to the side, but then we have this awful thing happening. And same thing if it's like way too small. Like if I made this too small, like if I was like this, which does fit and it's centered, but it also looks weird. There's a lot of extra space all around it. No good. So, pop back into this. So, you know, and the anchor points, for some reason on these aren't quite centered. I just never felt like moving them. You can if you want, if that helps you. I forget, it's like W or something. Or Y. It's Y. Yeah, I'll leave it off there for now. It probably is there for a reason. I don't know. I haven't messed with it. I know there's a lot of animations happening under the hood on this stuff. So be wary of that. But yeah, that's pretty good. Get a couple pixels on each side. I do keep it on this line, so I know that's not quite centered, but that's fine. You see that works fine. That actually might be even a little too big. It's a little too cozy there. So I'm going to put them down like 550. Oh, that's way too small. 575 should work. There we go. So yeah, you kind of play it, just see what looks good, match the other ones. And then the lower one is probably the harder part of these two. This text 2, so that was text 1. Like I said, that's just the person's name. Text 2 is the Twitter handle. So, and this you can use camel case, or whatever the person prefers for their Twitter handle. So I'll throw my Twitter handle in there. I'll pop it off like that. Grab the Twitter logo. I'll just kind of center the two of them as best I can. Oops. If I can. There we go. That's it, centered-ish. And then I can bounce back and make sure I'm like, yeah, that looks pretty centered. And then, so now you'll see that, oh geez. You'll see that this now is animated and it's beautiful. See, that's exactly what we want. It doing this. I'll even play it. Yep, my name pops in from the side and then pops back out, and the Twitter handle goes up and down. Now, I do have people without Twitter handles. If someone you're crediting doesn't have a Twitter handle, or for some weird reason they don't want to be credited with their Twitter handle and their thing, you can just basically go back in. And this is important because what you don't want to do is just delete that layer. Like, you don't want to. First thing you don't want to do is you do not want to just delete this for a number of reasons. The main one being that if you save this file and then you come back to it later, want to add in a thing and it's not there, you can't. This is not as simple as just adding in that layer. There's a lot of, like I said, I can tell there's like a mask or something on it, and then there's like all these animations happening behind the scenes with this thing. You also don't want to just turn it off. That's another thing you might be tempted to do, because I think some of the animations, yeah, see, the animation still kind of stays on there because of the way the animation's done. The outro, the out animation, this part, still stays on there. It's weird. I don't understand how it works in After Effects. I don't need to. You don't need to either. Just know that if you're going to do something without a Twitter handle, basically double click into them again. You go up to here, and all you do is you shift this out. Shift it up. You can shift it down, left, right. I shift it up. I think it's easy, and then the next person, if they come in, or if it's you again, you come in, you want to figure out like, oh, why is there no Twitter handle on this? You can pop in and say, oh, here it is. It's these little boxes up here, and then just drag them back down, change them, do whatever. I keep the Twitter close to the @ symbol, or the Twitter bird, a little icon close to the @ symbol. You know, not overlapping, but just so it's clear that, oh, this is a Twitter handle. You could do the same thing with an Instagram logo if you want. You could throw anything into this layer. You'll see I've added this twitterbird.png custom. You could do it with anything. I could throw another one in there if I really wanted to. I don't, but I could, and you'll see that basically, it appears. There it is. So it just grabs whatever is in there, so that's fine. There are other things you don't want to add your own stuff to, like this whole page. This is the weirdest page, or the weirdest composition, is this edit colors and duration. Don't mess with this from this layer, except to, like I said, double click and go in. Don't even feel like you have to change the time, all that stuff. That should all be fine. Yeah, just, this is the weird one. This is where all the weird effects are, and there's like scales and stuff on things, and leave it is the best policy that I found, is don't touch it, because weird things will happen if you do. And then when you're ready to export, this is another big thing, don't export from here. We don't export, oh gosh, stop. We don't export this composition. What you export is actually the HD composition. So, and like I said, this takes the 4K one, but I believe it just downscales it. Yeah, you can see the scale, it's down to less than, it's 46.9%, which would be 4K to HD, I assume. I believe that is correct. And so you want to export this, because this will have everything you need. It'll have the correct background color and everything, which background color in this case is alpha, which we'll get to. But it'll be the correct resolution. It's the correct length. You can see this is already scaled down to be about 5 seconds. It's really the actual animation lasts about 5 seconds. We export an extra like 20 seconds, or 20 frames, excuse me, not 20 seconds. 20-ish frames, which is almost a full second, just as a little bit of buffer on there, because who cares? So you'll see what I do with that in a minute. Now, when I'm ready to actually export this, I will go to composition. There's a couple ways to do it. I do composition, add a render queue. And here comes the important part. You want to change your output mode from lossless. You want to be an AVI. That's fine. Nothing there. You want RGB plus alpha. What that does, this is where I'm going to explain a little bit of After Effects, because you may not be familiar with this. RGB plus alpha basically, there's no background on this clip here. Excuse me. This clip here. All it is this, you know, Twitter handle and animation thing. This, like, lavender, bluish, whatever color, weird color I picked as a background for this is not really there. It would be there if you just export it as RGB. It would pick that up and just export that. But if you do RGB plus alpha, that becomes an alpha, or just, not just alpha, RGB plus alpha. RGB plus alpha, it knows that that color is the alpha channel, and it will basically, it'll take out that layer, so you have like it's like a PNG in graphics. It gives it a transparent background, so that I can place just this part, just the actual animation with no background, over another piece of video, and have it show up and display correctly. So I changed my settings. That's all hunky-dory. There's a spot in the drive for these, and it's right here. It's in Spring 16. I can move it to Fall 16 too, and that's probably what I'll do. But then it basically be in credits, and then not rendered AVIs. And you see here's all the AVIs of anyone I've ever done for credits. And so if there's a new, this is a process you'd follow for new people. Let me be clear. I didn't say that at the beginning. I should have. I apologize. You've gotten this far in. Now you should know. This is for if someone's credit does not currently exist. So you can see we have a few with and without credit, with some with Twitter handles, some without. You can probably see these little thumbnails. They can get bigger. Yeah. So you can see some people have have Twitter handles. Some people do not. It's just if I couldn't find it, or if the person didn't want their Twitter, whatever. So yeah, that's how you kind of begin going about to create a new credit sequence. So mine's already done. I don't want to re-export it, but there would be mine. I'd basically just hit save. It would say you want to replace. I'd say yes, and then I'd go ahead, hit render. It'll render. Now, I'm not going to make you sit through that, because like I said, I've done it before. Let's go look at it. I'm going to I already have it imported, actually. Actually, I probably don't. I should, though. Let me import it. It's going to think about it. Boom. It's going to be an Everyday Gator. If you don't have access to these folders, let us know. Let somebody know who's in charge, and they will get you the access you need. So not rendered, and then I'm going to keep using mine as an example here. Where am I? There I am. I know how to spell my name. So it's going to import mine. Now, there's a not rendered AVIs, and then there's like that rendered MP4s. And you're probably wondering, why the heck are there two different ones? Well, these AVI files are massive. And they're slow. It's straight at After Effects. I understand why. But like, if I look at the properties of this file, it's 1.29 gigabytes, and it's 5 seconds. So it's going to be slow to render, like especially a lot of them at once. You can't tell the black lines are there too. See how glitchy it was at the end there even? That's bad. So what I'll do is I will go, and let me pull in one of the rendered MP4s, because before you use one, and this only has to happen once on each one, you want to make it into a rendered MP4. So let me just grab like Courtney's rendered one. Doesn't matter. But you do want to grab an existing one, and you'll see why. I will explain it, I promise. So we go in there. Let me turn mine off, actually. And now you can see there's Courtney's little thing. Her little, her credit. It's right there. Beautiful. Love it. What I can do, what I want to do under mine, I'm going to shift this over here. And there's mine. So what I want to do for mine is I want to make a new title. Make it a still. I'm just going to call it, actually I'm just going to make a green background. I spelled background wrong. That's embarrassing. That's fine. And what I want to do is I want to create a massive rectangle. It's going to be even bigger. Just hold your horses. It'll get there. And I want the fill. I can't see all my fill stuff. There you go. I want my fill color. I'm just going to select that. That's why we bring in the other one, is to just get the correct shade of green to make life really easy. And that's lovely. And the scale, you can tell, is already correct. Like you can see my my scale is correct because my border is in the exact same place as Courtney's, so don't worry about having to change that. And then I will take that this green background, and I'll change it to background because it's going to really bother me until I do that. I'm going to take that, which is literally just, it's essentially it's a digital green screen is what we've just made. So I can shift my thing off, and now I have this just massively long, or however long I want, green background. I can throw mine back on top, and suddenly now mine looks a lot like Courtney's, right? Bingo, bingo. I'm going to shorten this to this length, obviously. One other little thing, I mentioned that we had some extra frames on the end. Another reason you want to bring in an existing one is you just want to basically trim that down to the same length. So you should be, starting should be fine. You're going to start at the same place, I assume. There's no real way to tell there, is there? Yeah, so I think you start at the same place. So yeah, it's just legitimately you trim off from the end to match up. So now that I've got this, what I want to do is basically, if it's in its own sequence, I can just export the sequence. Otherwise, I'm going to mark in, mark out at the end, and I'm just using the arrow keys up and down to get to those points. And then I'm going to export either Control-M or just export. And there's nothing weird with the export here. You'd export that as you'd export anything else for like YouTube or standard use. If it'll come up, it's being slow. There's a lot happening. Oh, that's not even Premiere. There it is. So it wants me to export. I'd just call it. What I would do is I would put it in Fall 16. No, sorry, Spring 16 credits, or Fall 16 in your case. Credits, rendered MP4s. There should be a bunch of them there. Mine already exists, otherwise I just put mine there. And then it'll just be H.264, high bitrate, yada, yada, yada. Don't have to worry about transparency. We are removing the transparency. And I know what you're saying. Why are we removing the transparency? We went through the pain of making sure there was transparency in After Effects. The main reason is because these MP4s, I mentioned the file size of the AVIs. I don't want to get super technical here, but just because I know that's going to be a weird question, because it seems like we're literally undoing a step that would have just required one like box to be checked. The AVIs are massive because they come straight out of After Effects, and there's a lot of data encoded in there. It's 1.29 gigabytes, I think I said, for that 5-second clip. Whereas the MP4s, I'll look at my MP4 just as reference. Instead of 1.29 gigabytes, it's now 887 kilobytes. We are talking less than a megabyte. It's going to save space. It's going to be fast. You can see how fast Courtney's plays compares to mine. Like, see, hers plays super smooth. We have full 24 FPS. It's beautiful. Mine, yeah, you can already see it's starting to lag, and then it's going to have issues. Yep, and it should have gone out, which it did. It just, we didn't catch it. Yeah, see how slow that is? It's slow. It's painful, especially if you're working on some sort of other computer that's not like a dedicated desktop. If you're on like a laptop, I mean, forget it. It's going to be a massive pain if you don't do this. Like I said, the nice thing is you only have to do it once, and then you're stuck with these nice little MP4s. Now once you have the MP4, so this is where you'd get to basically. This is where you'd start if the thing had already been done. If you're reusing someone's name, like for instance, we used Courtney and Tyler last year. If they're doing it again this year, they're being credited somehow. We already have theirs. We don't have to remake them. There's a full credit sequence right here, and you can grab that you basically import that from a Premiere project that will be included in the, it'll be included in the editor's resource pack, this sequence. So I go into this sequence, and it's got music. It's beautiful. You go into this sequence, and there's two things within this sequence. I know. I'm sorry. It's whatever. There's the little LLC credit, and there's this thing just called credits. Pop into credits, and boy howdy is this getting complicated. And it's really not that complicated. There's just a lot of pieces. I apologize for it. I know there's a lot happening. So yeah. Yeah, these are all the pieces. The background's going to go here. I'll get to that shortly. First of all, I'm just going to delete the background that's here. I'm actually going to mute it. There's a reason there's a background in this one, and I'll get there. But this is where your background goes, is in this credits. From within full credits, you go to credits. That's where your background goes. I need to import mine because I still haven't. Now, what we've done in the past, and it's going to vary probably depending on who's doing what, we did, like, we did credit shots. We did individual credit shots for each episode for the first couple seasons. Well, actually for Season 2. Season 1, we did a whole different thing for credits. Season 3, from what I've seen, you guys have 2 credit shots. I don't know if you want to alternate back and forth. Totally up to whatever you want to do. But there's 2 of them, and they're in my downloads. Hold on. I need to find them. I haven't actually moved them over correctly. They're on the drive, too, but I just downloaded them because I needed, because my drive wasn't synced or whatever. Come here. Let me export these. So, or maybe you're doing more credit shots later. I don't know. Like I said, totally up to whatever you want to do. But I'm just going to, assuming you have the background you want, this is what you'll do if it extracts. I apologize. I didn't do this ahead of time. Shame on me. Tisk tisk. But yeah, the background, typically the mug will either be on the left or the right. Those are your only options. Do not put the mug in the middle for credit shots. That won't work. It'll be real weird. Whatever side the mug is not on, though, is where your credits will go. This is me filling airtime while I'm waiting for these things to finish extracting. But yeah, your stuff will go there. It's pretty easy. These next episodes, subscribe, and those things, those are all fine. They'll just stay there. There shouldn't be any issues with them. If something looks really weird, I guess you can change it, but I wouldn't. I would just kind of leave it as long as you can. Oh, it's so slow. Oh, God, how did our time go up? Okay, 1 minute, 15 seconds. So, yeah. Like I said, this is the point you'd start. If, like, all of your credits are people who've done stuff with you before, this is the point you start. But I found even last year, even just doing these for spring, I think we did them just for spring. Yeah, we didn't even do these for fall. For spring, there were still people in the last couple episodes I was making new credits for. People who hadn't just done something yet or hadn't done something that they were credited for or whatever. Or, like, they had a Twitter handle update, something like that. I went ahead and did. And had to redo the whole After Effects process with it. But that's fine. It doesn't take super long. Oh, excuse me. It doesn't take super long. As you saw, it took me, like, what, 20 minutes to go through that with you guys. And I showed a lot of things. Yeah, 20 minutes-ish. Okay. So I'm just going to pull in... I'm going to pull in this one. Oh, if it'll let me. It won't. Oh. I'm breaking rules because I'm not pulling in files from the drive. Whenever you import stuff to a project, Premiere project, that's going to be stored on the drive, the video file should also be stored on the drive. I'm breaking that rule right now for the purpose of this tutorial. Don't do it, because there'll be reference errors and stuff. Imports that. There we go. I have not looked at this, full disclosure. This is my first time seeing it, but I can tell already that it's going to be on the other side of what I was doing here. So yeah, you can see the mug is now flipped like before. Well, it's not flipped, it's on the other side. Before it was here, now it's here. That's fine. This is a very dark credit shot, because I'm having issues with these things. I'll show you how to fix that. And we move a little bit here. Turn off. I'm going to turn off my individual credits real quick. Okay, so we stabilize at some point. Typically, you want like a lighter background in the background of the credit shots. You know, pretty much all the time we have that. There's a little bit of shadow move or something. That's fine. But basically, yeah, because this subscribe and next episode are super dark. I'm going to fix these real quick and just show you what to do if that happens. You open these titles, and there's a couple ways to do it, actually. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it easier on myself. I'm going to go into Effects. I couldn't individually change the color of the text and the white, or in the border, but instead, I'm going to apply this effect. I want to change from black to white. That's literally what I'm doing here. Make sure it's actual white, and you want to do hue, lightness, and saturation, and bingo, now they're white. So I'm just going to, and then I can copy and paste that over here. I do the same thing with these two things. See if I think that looks good. Yeah, that's okay. The one thing I might do is just add like a drop shadow. I'm not expecting you to get this fancy in it. It bugged me. I'm sorry. I couldn't keep going. It bothered me a lot. I'm just going to do a little drop shadow. Yeah, it's not perfect because the mug's white. It's in a bad place there for that. There we go. That's better. Screw it. There we go. So, yeah. And then I'm just going to apply that drop shadow on the other two, too. There we go. Just makes it stand out a little bit more. So that's fine. Our actual credits are white. They just have black bars around them, so they're going to be fine here. What I do at this point, I need to take... Because what I don't want to do is end up shifting... Because inside this individual credits thing, I'll pop in here real quick. There's a reason there's a background in here. It's for this purpose. I don't want to end up shifting every single credit to the right, just because my mug is now on the left. So what I do instead, this is a trick I suggest you do, otherwise you're going to screw over your project. Oops, sorry. I have to remember to keep turning off this layer, otherwise it blocks the layer below it. What you want to do is you want to literally just shift the entire layer, because all the layer is credits in one little area. And like I said, because it's, yeah, you can still see we have that white outline, thankfully, which will help cover us here. But yes, typically when you're shooting credit shots, general reference, make sure they're light in the background. I'll show you just a quick, I'm not going to take a ton of time doing this. I just want to show you basically what some of our other ones look like. Oh god, there's a million things in my downloads folder. Because of course there are. Web series. I know what I'm doing. Oh, not disconnected. Everyday Gator. Like fall 15. I don't know if I actually have the fall 15. Oh, I do. We just need to get out of here. Credit shots. Yeah, this is just a, like, we did these at, like, Wahlberg. You can see all these are pretty bright in the background. Even this one, is which is a little dark, still worked. It's bright. Like, this one has actual, like, blacks in the background. You can see these are all pretty light. Same thing with fall 16, or spring 16, I mean. Our credit shots. We did them all with the French fries. We kept them all light. If anything, a way to compensate is overexpose a little bit. Keep it up, and then do extras in case some ended up dark. Like this one ended up dark, but it wasn't too dark. We could still get away with it. Yeah, so I'm random rant on how to shoot credit sequence background shots. So I bop into individual credits. This is where most of your work is going to be done after After Effects. I have this shot in here as just so I can see the black, because otherwise it's really hard to see where things are and make sure they're centered. For this episode, I know that that Tyler he directed it. And there's a lot of featured on this ones. Oh god, I need to pull up the list. I have a list that I was sent. Let me just find it super quickly. I'm so sorry. I thought I had it up. I did not. Yep, there it is. Okay. I think I have the camera up already. I know Laura was camera operator. Yeah, I have Laura and there's camera operator. I have Tyler's my EP. So what I need to do, we used to have 2 EPs, now we have 1. So what I want to do is we just switched that this year. I'm just going to make that more in line. Actually, what I'm just going to do, I'm going to copy the position of that one. There we go. There we go. And then I'm going to change from executive producers to executive producer, because there's one. There we go. Still edited by me in this case. Yep, camera up, Laura Palacio. Okay, the featuring is where it's going to get weird. Now, what I'm going to do is take out the right. Normally there's a writer's credit, and I'm going to take it out in this case because we were featuring 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 people, and I can't do 5 people on one little slide. Normally you're only going to have 1 or 2. In this case there's 5. It's weird. I apologize for it being weird. Yeah. I believe that's what I want. Let me just double check one thing. Sorry. Not trying to leave you hanging. But yeah, this is what you want. Yes. So, what I'm going to do is do 2, and I need to have 5 people, because it's Corolla, Angela, Will, Tyler, Courtney, and Laura. If I'm mispronouncing a name, I apologize. It does not really matter at this point. Not that I don't appreciate you for your name, but, you know. So featuring is its own little nested sequence in here, and it's just these little things. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pop over to here and find my credits. I'd imported them, so there they are. Yeah, this is not everything. Let me just import, because I've done some new ones. I actually have not made them green screen yet, so I'll show you how that works. I'm not going to go through all the credits. I'm just going to do a couple of them. 1 or 2, maybe. Credits. ABIs. So, yeah, I know, like, Angela I haven't done. Corolla I haven't done. Do I have a Will? Yeah. These are the 3 that I have not done. So I'll just go ahead and do them. So I import them. I don't know if you could see me actually grabbing them or not, but I did. I grabbed them, trust me. They're over here now. I can grab... I'm going to grab an existing one, Courtney's. And I already have that green background. I'm grabbing these from the other screen. You know what I'm doing, I assume. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make the green background the right length. And that way I can just come over here. Go. Mark it. Oh god, I is not in. Not on mine. Mark. Ooh, nope. Mark in. I could also mark clip is another way to do it. If I wanted to, like if I wanted to, this is just random Premiere trivia. I could mark clip. That's for everything. What am I talking? Oh, I need to mark selection is what it would be. There it is. I can. Yeah, there's other ways to do it. Oh god, something disconnected. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes, something weird happened. I apologize. That was weird. Come here. Come here. Don't freak out on me. We're okay. We are okay. Why did you freak out? Sorry, I don't know what happened. I'm going to close the project and reopen it. Something like disconnected super briefly, hashtag. And it freaked out. I don't know why. I don't know. Premiere doing a weird thing. It happens sometimes. Just FYI, it happens. Reopen this. Hopefully it works. I know, you didn't like somehow something that I imported. There we go. Now it's showing up. So, yeah, you can see this is, yep, this is what I want. So I'm going to export this. If it'll load, there we go. Oh, FIDA. I think that's the name of my sequence. So, Everyday Gator, Spring 16 credits. Like I said, yours may be in a different place. That's fine. And this is going to be, okay. It's Angela. I'm sure I did. I typoed. Yep, spelled that right. Cool. As far as I know. Then I export that, and it's going to be very quick to export. Like, yeah, 30 seconds for each one of these. But I'll export it. We're close to the end, I promise. I know, you're like, this is so boring. And it is, and I apologize. And you have to do it for every episode. Not every single thing, but, you know, the first couple episodes you do will be the slowest. Yep, it's going, oh my gosh. And then that one's done. So now what I'll do is I'll actually just save myself some time. I'll pop Will's over here. There's his. And I'll call his Will Burley. Export. I could have also queued them all and just had them go all at the same time through the media encoder. I didn't feel like getting into all of that. Some of you might know that. If you do, brownie points to you, because that's like a relatively advanced thing. So that's a plus. No complaints there. Okay, if it'll go. Okay, that one's done. Now all we need is this last one here. And it does, the only thing, make sure your actually source range is sequence in and out. That's the only thing I forgot to mention. Did I spell her name right? Nope. Oh, at the end. I apologize. But I did double check it. Not that the file name actually matters, because it's really what's on the screen that matters. Hopefully I did that one right. Yep. According to what I was sent by Tyler. If I had spelled any names wrong, it's on Tyler. He sent me the names. Don't blame me. Don't hate me. Okay. 9, 8, 7. And then once these are done, we'll have all the pieces we need. I will just re-import. Oh, I did skip one really important thing about re-importing them that I just kind of glossed over. It'll be, I mean, I was going to do it now. Like, you'll see why I skipped over it until now. But anyway, so real quick, all I'm going to do is just import those 3 that I just did. Angela, Corolla, Will. Those are the 3, right? Yeah. I import them. Those are the ABIs. I apologize. That was stupid of me. No one called me out on it because this is, you can't see me doing this right now. Angela, I want the ABIs, or the MP4s. Corolla, Will. Bingo. So what you notice, this has a green background. You probably can figure out, oh, I just need to chroma key this. But wait, it's more than that, because you also need to change the size. There's a preset effect that I have called, it's an EG Spring 16 credits. If I hit that, boom, look, it makes magic happen. And trust me, the black parts are still there. You just can't see them because it's knocking out the green screen. What this does, and this is important, you can go in and look and see exactly what it's doing. It is got a motion effect, so it's 60% of the size, and it shifts it over. It does color key, it does a drop shadow, all the goodness you'd want it to do. What I'm also going to do is just hold Alt, select all those things, delete them, because I just need the credits. And this is our feet. I'm going to just put in, I'm going to put these 3 all together. How much space do I have between these? 5 frames. That's a good amount of time. 14. Oh, I closed something that I probably shouldn't have. That's okay. And then, boom. Now I'm going to get creative. Like I said, I don't think we've ever done 3 in a row. Oh, jeez. What I'm going to do, just for ease of being able to see what the heck is happening, I'm going to throw that in so that I just have a background, so I'm not just dealing with, like, blackness. Okay. So this is going to be a little tough. That's okay. I want to basically go... Ideally, I want to leave the one in the middle where it is. That would be my goal. Yes. Like this. I don't know if I can get away with that or not. I'm going to bump this down a little bit too. Normally this would be bigger. Oh god, it wasn't right. The thing is, I don't want it to run into the next episode subscriber buttons. Okay, I said it was gonna. Sometimes it'll do glitchy things, but it's better than if it was the ABIs. Trust me. Okay, so let's see if that works. Here's my feet. It's actually a little low. Somehow I moved it a little low. Let's try that. Full credits. Credits is what I'm looking for. There, I left the background on it because of course I did. It's the pain of credits. Like I said, it's not the easiest thing in the world. Okay. My featuring is not quite there. So what I'm going to have to do, just because there's 3, it's going to be weird. I apologize. I didn't want it to be weird. It's going to be weird. Yours won't probably be this way. Maybe it will. I don't know. I don't know what you're doing. But what I'm going to do, it's cheating. I apologize. I'm not trying to belittle anyone's name. But what I have to do, basically, is go in here and just shrink this whole sequence. Get 80%. Just to get it to fit in. So yes, these boxes are smaller than other ones, but it's just the struggle of trying to keep 3 of them on the... Because I can only... There's only so much time in the credit sequence. I can't put every single person individually on their own line, or their own slide. Oh, it's so close. I can just shift it down. It should be fine. There we go. Which I think is actually, funny enough, is probably exactly where it was. Yep. Cool. So the other thing I want to do is just shift it. Well, I'll figure out the actual shifting in a minute. Okay. So I've got, that's going to be the second featuring one. I need to just go ahead and just reveal this. I just want to duplicate it. It is called Feta. Feet 2. It's very confusing because Feet 2 is really the first feet. You'll see in a minute. I'm going to go in here. God, don't render. Oh, geez, don't do that either. Just delete that. And then I'm just going to, this is just going to be Courtney and Tyler. Oh, and Laura. No, yeah, there are 6. Did I not say 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, there were 6. I don't know. I goofed. So, I know I already have, I think I already have Tyler Williams and Laura. Tyler, Courtney, and Laura. That's what I was looking for. It's like I missed somebody in there. So there's Tyler. I don't usually do this in any specific order. If anything's alphabetical order. Right now, it's very arbitrary. Courtney Mims. So I delete the audio just to get it out of the way because I don't want to deal with it. And then there's Laura's. And these were all done last year. I already had them in place. I'm just going to go back to my preset. And that Spring 16 credit preset, this thing is in the editor's resource pack as well. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. I probably didn't. Shame on me. But it is in the editor's resource pack. And actually, what I'm going to do to make this even better, I'm going to copy, because these are modified, if that makes sense. Like they have the actual, I've shifted some up, left, and to the right. Just want to grab those. If you understand, that's fine. It'll make sense if you actually try to do it, what I'm doing. That one was actually slightly off, maybe. Oh, well. No, this was correct. There we go. Okay. So, I go back into... Oh, God, that's the one thing I needed. Individual credits. Come here. So, yeah, we grab this motion. Throw it into there. Yep, bingo. So one thing I need to do, shift these things slightly. So I just need enough, I need just a few extra frames here. Not a lot, just a few. Okay, there we go. So now if we want this through, Tyler, I said things are going to be glitchy. I know, even though we rendered. Trust me, it would be much worse if we didn't. Featuring. Let me just go ahead and look at the actual credits here. But I have to turn off the background. It's the one annoying part. I'm sorry. I know it sucks. It's really just because there's a difference between when it starts and, yeah, you don't really care. Okay, so these, for some reason, that's over far enough, but the featuring ones are not. They just need to be shifted to the right. Everything else looks fine. Tyler, me, tangible. Cool. Everything needs, they need to be shifted to the right somehow. Right that way, okay. You know, like 815. Let's go 825. That's better. And let's find out if that really is better or not. I'm sure it is. You could still even go a little farther compared to where the directed is. It's weird because they're just smaller. 840, let's go. It's not a huge shift, but it's enough. That's better. And you can see top to bottom. They're pretty well spaced between, you want to be between the buttons and the bar. Yeah, that's pretty solid. One thing I've noticed is that, and this actually bugged me last year, is the tangible one is somehow at a different level than the other ones. I don't know how that happened. I really do not. Oh gosh. Stop it. I think we shifted. I'm just going to shift this down a little bit. Got our produced by. That's pretty good. Okay, that's better. Turn this off. We should be good on our credits now. Yep. And this will. Oh, there's a weird featuring at the end there. That's okay. That actually won't. This cuts off earlier than it shows it does, just because the sequence is extra long. But like if we go here, we'll just make sure that, yep, tangible's there. Fade out. 2016. Cool. The only other thing to know about credits is the music, and I typically start it. What happens is it finishes right at the end of this whole thing. Like, I'll go back a little bit. Oh god, that's loud.
Reason number 1.
So there's that. And then what I do is I just start it a little bit before the credits, which helps. And it'll just be, I'll just exponential fade in.
See you next time, Gators.
Something like that. And actually, this is way too short. I'm noticing this now. It should be like, we'll give it a full second to fade in.
See you next time, Gators.
So that we can just hard cut over and it's not weird. So yeah, that's credits. Hopefully I covered everything you needed to. Like I said, links for important things are in the description. If the link actually isn't in the description, like I actually don't think, I think I lied. I said the editor resource pack's in the description. It's not, just because we don't want that publicly accessible. So if you need the editor resource pack, contact the project lead and they will get it to you. It's in the drive. If you have drive access, you can probably find it that way. It's a zip with all sorts of little handy things in it. Like I said, logos, graphics, the credits file, which we also use for lower thirds for hosts and stuff sometimes and other things. So that's all in there, and like the little pop-ups for questions. Everything should be there. Music is important and is in there. Those presets, which work for Premiere Pro, Creative Cloud. If you have an old version, they're incompatible. We can get you an old version too. Make sure to specify that if you need the effect presets, because I know they can vary from version to version. Okay, that's all I have. Like I said, hopefully this was helpful. Please feel free to contact me anytime on Twitter, or if you have me on Facebook or text or any of that stuff. I'm reachable. I make myself available if possible. So yeah, good luck.